Okay, so this quick video is to show you how to do something like this, where you can spell out a word or a shape, or I guess you're doing like Korean characters or whatever you want to do, and get it to spell it out. It's not bad. I didn't put loads of effort in. I guess, I'll show you how to do it, and you can kind of slow it down or speed it up, or it's to do with erasing parts of the letters as you go along. So you can kind of play around with yourself and get it smoother if you want. So this is the file here. This is a piece of software called Adobe Animate. It used to be called Adobe Flash, but it's called Adobe Animate now. It's part of the Creative Suite. So DIT probably have it. I'd say you could get it for free. So the first thing to do when you install Adobe Animate, go in and start. What I would usually do is new from template. There is all kind of preset kind of sizes and stuff. Banners, animation sizes. I don't really know. Let me just cancel out of that. I don't know what size you're doing this for. We just go into File, New. So if you know, like if you're doing it for the web, the set sizes. If you're doing it for, so there's actually ones here. This isn't bad either. Like the social here. Sizes like they'll give you ones for like full HD for YouTube or 4K or Twitter or whatever. In education, you've got high, low, medium. You've got ones for iPhone. Here's web. So you probably know the sizes that you're going for. What will we go? 1024, 7. It's in education. Okay, this is HD, I think. I don't know if you want to go. Let's go very high. So this is the width and the height in pixels. The frame rate, I'm going to leave it at 24. Basically how frame rate works is 24 is a standard for TV. 24 is a standard for like animation, say for movies and that. 25 is standard for TV. You can bring the frame rate up and down. Certainly I get the impression you're probably going to use this for the intranet. So you can bring it down, and I'll show you that in a minute. But if you were doing this for TV, which I guess you're not, you would stick at 25 or 24 if it was going to be in a movie or something, okay? I guess check where this is going to be shown and make sure you get the frame rate correct. So we just go create, and I'm hitting Command minus, and that will zoom out. So what you want to look at on your canvas here, this is, the stage, basically it's called. Where you're going to get all your characters to do something. Up on the top right here, there is a little button called Workspace. That's pretty important. If you go in there, if you've just opened Adobe Animate and you've never used it before, it might be set to some other workspace. I always put it on Essentials. There's other ones, if you kind of ended up liking this piece of software, you could pick other ones, but go with Essentials. And you'll get some options down here. So at the moment, we're on this tab, Doc. So here's all the document options. So you have your size, the color of your stage. If you wanted some other, let's say you wanted white type on a black background or something, you can put hex codes in there. So, let's say, I don't know, it had to be the TUI Dublin blue, and you had a hex code for that. You could put it in there, but I'm just going to leave it white. This is the frame rate. Some of this stuff, don't worry about any of that, but these things just, you might come back to look at them. The other thing you want to look at is this down here. The timeline is really important. You have different layers. You're only going to have one layer on this, unless you wanted, let's say I saw a guy on YouTube and he had a JPEG in the background of like parchment paper, and then he had animating a signature, like someone signing this document, so you would have the one layer on the bottom with the paper and a layer on the top with the letters. So you could use it for that. The other thing is these tools down the side here. You'll use not really many of them. Probably this move tool, maybe the scale tool, and probably that type tool. Oh, and this eraser. You're going to use that. So the first thing to do is with your text tool. Okay. Click on. I'm going to make this just black and white. Obviously, you can fill it with whatever color you like. You'll notice when you click on the tools over here, the options over here change. Okay. So what you need to do is type. I just type the word hello. Oops. Hello. There we go. Okay, and it's black. It's fine. I picked for Privet Drive. It's like a Harry Potter typeface, but what you would want to do is pick your Korean typeface. I don't know how they work, to be honest with you. I assume there's some way on a Western keyboard that you can choose a Korean typeface and then put the characters in. So I guess you'd have to figure that out. I'm going to scale this up a little bit. Now, when you scale it up, at the moment I'm not holding down Shift and you can see it's going all kind of weird. Try to avoid that. If you hold down Shift, it scales it without kind of warping it. So there's my hello. Alright, so the next thing you want to do, oh, I'm very particular about things like, instead of layer 1, we'll call this hello type. Okay, there we go. Right, so the next thing you want to do is you're going to do something called breaking this apart. Okay, now the keyboard command for it on a Mac is Command B, on a PC it's Control B. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way, I think it's up here somewhere. There it is. Break apart. Okay, so you need to do it twice. So you'll see it breaks it apart into individual letters. So I'm going to go Command B, and you'll see if I zoom in a little bit, it kind of looks, it's all dotty looking. What that means is it's now turned it from a typeface into a drawing, essentially, of these letters. So you can manipulate them. So I can rub sections of these out, for example. So what you want to do is you want to go down to your eraser tool, and you'll notice now I've got my eraser options here. If you go up here, I just did this earlier on, I did a little trial where I just had this round eraser, but if you want, there's all different shapes, you know, if you want it more square, or I don't know why you would want some of these, but I guess that might work. Anyway, let's go back to round. Now to scale this up and down, you know, you can do it this way. On your keyboard, the keys next to your P, which are square brackets and kind of curly brackets, if you hit the left one it makes it smaller and the right one it makes it bigger, so sometimes that's handier. I'm going to go a little bit smaller. Let's see, let's test that. Yeah, okay. So I'm happy with that. So now to get started. So on your timeline you have these are all your frames, okay? Now, you saw that we were doing 24 frames a second. So essentially, when you have all of your frames going up to frame 24, which is there, that will be 1 second of animation, okay? A keyframe is all of these, each one of these blocks is a frame, and one of these little kind of blocks here with a dot in it is a keyframe, okay? So a keyframe is where something happens in the animation, okay? So you want to start putting keyframes in. And what we're going to do is rub away this, but we're going to do it in reverse. Okay, so what you have to think about is, how would I write this letter? So if I was writing the letter O with a pen or a marker or something, I'd start here and go around like that. So I'm going to rub it out in reverse. Okay, so instead of rubbing it out that way, I'm going to rub it out that way. Same with the L. You know, I'd come from the bottom up. So what you want to start doing is start adding keyframes in. So I can right click here, insert keyframe, and what I'm going to do is just rub a little bit of that out. Okay, and then insert another keyframe, and then another bit. Now obviously how quick or slow you do this will determine how quick or slow the animation is. Kind of. I'll show you when I'm finished. You can play around with adding more frames in, and we can play around with the frame rate. Although messing about with the frame rate is not always advised, but I think for what you want to do, if you were doing this for a TV show, let's say this was some animated BBC, I don't know when it was going to be on the telly showing people Korean, I wouldn't mess around with the frame rate. If it's for TV it has to be 25, or if it's for the movies it has to be 24, and so on. But like we're doing this for the internet, it's pretty forgiving. This is kind of, it's not that tedious. Oops, right clicking in. So you just need to keep going, keep putting keyframes in, rubbing little bits away. I mean, you can rub out bits faster than this if you want, but then the animation will go, let's do another little bit there. It will go much faster. Okay, let's keep going with that. Get rid of all of that. Okay, let me pause. See, can I pause this? No, it won't. I just have to keep going. Okay, you can fast forward this because I'm going to keep going with this. Tell you what, I'll just do it faster, and you'll see. Let's rub out kind of longer bits, and let's see how it works. Now, the keyboard command for inserting a keyframe is F6. So in theory, I should be able to hit F6 and a keyframe should appear. But for some reason that I can't quite figure out, it doesn't want to cooperate. So maybe it's a Mac thing. If you hit, instead of me, like I'm right clicking every single time, it's a bit of a pain, you try clicking F6 and that will put a keyframe in. That will be much handier for me. Okay, I'm going to do this relatively quickly. Let's rub all that. Okay, so now the H. I would go across, down, across, down, across, and then here. Okay, so let's do that in reverse. Start here, what about that? So with your Korean letters, you would have to know kind of what order somebody would write those Korean shapes or those Korean characters in. Let's speed this up a bit. Okay, so you get that. You'll see you might want to go slower on your own. Let's just get rid of all that. Let's do half of that. Oops. Okay, what did I say? Okay. Bottom. Let's go faster. Okay, so I'm up to 40-ish frames, so let's just go like that. 24. So it's not even 2 seconds, but we can, if it looks like it's too fast, I'll show you how you can fix that. Let's just get rid of all that. Okay, so here's our animation, but it's in reverse. Let's just play it. To play this, okay, so you can scrub through it like that. Check that it looks okay, but if you want to just play it, go back to the first frame and hit the return button. Okay, so what we want to do is we need to reverse this. Okay, so if I select kind of here, it will see all the keyframes are selected, and if I right click, reverse frames. Okay, so if I hit enter now, there's our little animation. Now, so you can see, yeah, like the H was going, you're watching it, the H is going quickly because I was getting impatient, and the O was a little bit slower because I took my time on it. So there is ways around that. Okay, so I talked about the frame rate, and I said it's not really advised to mess around with it. But if this is for the web, you know, like 24 frames, and it's not like this is some complicated character or something. So I think you can get away with bringing this down. So if I brought the frame rate, so at the moment it's 20, it's not even 2 seconds, right? So imagine if I brought this down to, let's put in 15 frames a second. Okay, so now, like 30 frames, as far as here is about 2 seconds. So let's play it. So I hit enter. I wouldn't go below 12 frames a second. Okay, it'd just be really, it just wouldn't look great. Okay, there's another way of doing it. Let's put it back to 24. Let's say it had to be on 24, right? And you couldn't change that for whatever reason. What you can do is add extra frames in. If I go back to this first frame, and if I right click and go, not insert keyframe, but just insert frame, again the keyboard command is F5. I don't know why it won't work on this Mac, but you try on a PC. So if I put one frame in, so you'll see a regular frame just has a little dash, a keyframe has a circle. So now I've put in an extra frame. It doesn't really, you don't notice it there because there's nothing on it. Let's put another one here. If I click on this second keyframe and go insert frame, and you can see that the timeline here, it's spreading out a bit more. So now I'm doubling up the amount of frames. Insert frame. I keep doing that. So you could do it like that, like to lengthen out an animation. What you want to do is you know, obviously you need more frames. That makes it longer. And at the moment, for every 24, we've got 1 second of animation. And anyway, you keep doing that. I'll show you on this one, because that's what I did here, to make it kind of longer. So what's how many? 78. There's 78 frames. And actually I changed this one to 18 frames a second. So let's see what the tempo is like if I hit enter. Anyway, that's basically how it works. Let's go back to this one. Ooh, hello.